Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer. We're taking a close, objective look at a highly viral and honestly pretty wide-ranging video from the YouTube channel Professor Nez. It's titled, "Trump Just Sent Obama's Circle into Panic Mode." Now, this video has been making some serious waves online lately, and our goal today is to neutrally deconstruct the distinct and quite complex claims it presents. Let's break it down. To make sense of all this, here's a quick roadmap for our explainer. We're going to cover 1. Unpacking the viral video, 2. Tariffs and economic sovereignty, 3. Election fraud allegations, 4. Accusations against Obama, 5. Elite resentment, and finally, 6. Predictions for the DOJ. All right, starting off with Section 1, Unpacking the viral video. Moving right along to Section 2, Tariffs and economic sovereignty. You know, what makes this source material so incredibly fascinating to analyze is just how fast the host jumps between completely different paradigms. He kicks off his substantive analysis by looking at an article recently shared by Donald Trump, but instead of diving into modern globalized economic theory, the video actually points backward. It anchors its argument in a 19th century framework. Specifically, the source highlights a historical figure, Henry Clay. Born back in 1777 and passing in 1852, Clay was a statesman from Kentucky, famously known as the Great Compromiser. Now, despite 3 unsuccessful presidential runs in 1824, 1832, and 1844, he left a massive ideological footprint on American economic policy, and it's a footprint the video highlights as the true architect of American economic independence. The absolute core of that footprint is what's known as the American system. The source video emphasizes that this wasn't just some academic theory cooked up in a faculty lounge, right? It was a practical blueprint for national strength. It relied on 3 main pillars: protective tariffs to really nurture domestic industry, a sound financial structure for credit, and internal improvements. Think things like roads and canals to connect the country. The host of our source video uses Clay's framework to argue a very specific point, which is that relying on foreign supply chains leaves a nation fundamentally weak and exposed. So how does this apply today? Well, the host contrasts what he describes as punishing global tariffs. He claims some countries charge 80 to 100%, with Donald Trump's proposed fairness tariffs of 10 to 20%. According to the video, this 10 to 20% isn't just about collecting government revenue. Instead, it's framed as an essential incentive to actually force companies to build and manufacture on native soil, directly echoing Henry Clay's original vision. Okay, Section 3, Election fraud allegations. Now the video pivots super sharply right here. We jump straight from 19th century economics into claims regarding the 2020 election, centering heavily on statements from attorney Sidney Powell. Just neutrally looking at the claims presented in the source video, they include things like shredding ballots, wiping voting machines, and replacing servers. Powell specifically calls out Georgia counties like Cobb, Gwinnett, and Fulton, alongside states like Wisconsin, Michigan, and Arizona. The video also highlights a very specific allegation, that Dominion voting machines registered 5% higher votes for Joe Biden across the board, wherever they were running. Now, what's really interesting about this is the psychology of the inner circle during that time. The source video plays a viral clip where Sidney Powell explains exactly why she had Trump's ear. She states that while other trusted advisors were telling the president he had lost, she was the only advisor who believed he won. And honestly, more importantly, she claims she was the only one offering a legal strategy to uncover alleged machine fraud and actually overturn the election in the courts. From there, the allegations in the video just absolutely explode into international and intelligence territory. The host details Powell's assertions that Dominion and Smartmatic systems were actually created by Venezuelan dictator Hugo Chavez, funded by Cuban communist money, and, get this, possibly even originated by the CIA. The video references a supposed witness who provided an affidavit claiming they had first-hand observation of this manipulation from inside a Venezuelan control room. To tie all of this back to domestic intelligence, the host briefly connects these claims to a statement allegedly made by Kash Patel. The video claims that upon arriving at the FBI, Patel discovered a burner room right at headquarters, a room supposedly used to surreptitiously destroy files and evidence without anyone ever knowing. Let's look at Section 4, Accusations against Obama. From the FBI, the video seamlessly transitions into another massive set of claims. This time, we're focusing on the 2016 election and the broader intelligence community, heavily featuring statements from former Congresswoman Tulsi Gabbard. The absolute core of this section hinges on a very specific quote from Gabbard that's featured prominently in the source video. She describes the events surrounding the 2016 election as a years-long coup against President Trump. So the central accusation presented here is that intelligence was intentionally manufactured to subvert the will of the American people. The source material actually lays out a very specific chronological timeline for this alleged subversion. Gabbard claims that in early December 2016, an intelligence brief stated Russia lacked the intent and capability to hack the election outcome. But she says on December 9th, an Obama National Security Council meeting was held. Post-December 9th, Gabbard alleges, intelligence was intentionally manufactured and leaked to the press, which effectively sparked the $40 million Mueller probe. And the video doesn't just stick to generalized claims either. It names specific senior officials. According to the source, Obama administration officials James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice are specifically accused of being responsible for making a highly politicized decision to manufacture that intelligence and leak it.
All right, Section 5, Elite Resentment.
So you might be wondering, how does the host tie all these completely different claims together? Well, this bridge is built entirely on a foundation of resentment toward political and academic elites. Drawing on his own background working at a university, the host characterizes figures like Barack Obama, Hillary Clinton, and Joe Biden as intellectual academic snobs. He asserts that they lack real-world free enterprise experience, that they possess excessive hubris, and that they basically operate as a treasonous band of mutineers who fundamentally look down on average voters. This perceived elitism is framed as the root cause of literally all the controversies mentioned in the video. Which brings us to our final part, Section 6, Predictions for the DOJ. So why, according to the host, is Donald Trump posting about all these historical grievances from 2016 and 2020 right now? The host uses this entire narrative buildup to make concrete predictions about the current Department of Justice. The video creates this stark visual contrast between two legal figures. On one side, you have Pam Bondi, who the host actively criticizes for a perceived year-and-a-half of inaction and a total lack of arrests. On the other side is Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, whom the host heavily praises for taking immediate action in his very first 30 days. Things like prosecuting fraud and aggressively charging threats. And this brilliantly illustrates the host's ultimate conclusion. He speculates that Trump is not just reminiscing by posting these historical allegations online. No, the host describes it as subtle mastery. He views it as a deliberate, public signal to Todd Blanche, basically encouraging the acting attorney general to begin making high-profile arrests of political rivals based on these revived narratives. It's a truly fascinating look at how modern media weaves together totally different timelines and topics, which leaves us with a pretty critical question to consider. When political media intertwines 19th century economics with modern conspiracy claims, how does it reshape what voters actually demand from their justice system? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. I hope this structured breakdown brought some real clarity to a very complex viral narrative. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.